He only comes back for the all-time high, so that's why I think you've been seeing so much more of him. It's Rocco, the all-time high Maltese dog. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. It is April 24th, 2026. Trading Trends with John Salama, CMT. Let's get into it. It's been a very interesting day and week. You had big double-digit leads here, advances in oil and semis this week. That was the story. Take a look. As always, we follow price, and then narrative comes with that if you follow it long enough. Okay, so we'll look at the day through halftime here on Friday, and then the entire week. Let's get right to it. Today, semis, Taiwan, and tech. The only way I could do it, and that's a quantitative term, go bonkers. Okay, I'm very lucky today to be in the two top Sigma leaders as my largest position, so I'm happy for that to happen. Semis and Taiwan. I've been telling you that's how I've been buying and exploiting this rally. Also biotech, but that hasn't done anything today with the healthcare drag. But today, semis in Taiwan, again, a financial term, going bonkers. While healthcare, comms, and nat gas, I shorted nat gas. A neutral move today on the 3-month lows of nat gas served as a hedge against my OIH long, which we bought 2 days ago on a breakout. So did that on a, vol position sized discipline. So not a massive position at all, but I am short nat gas. We'll take a look at the chart. One of the biggest losers this day and on the week. New all-time highs for, let me take a breather. Qs, SPY, semis, tech, different semi-weighted basket, and Taiwan. That is, and the MTUM, the momentum ETF. That is a full-blown momentum bull market there, and you're dancing with the who got you there, and that's tech hitting it in different strides. Taiwan is a hardware proxy, as well as of course SMH and SOXX. One heavy on Nvidia, one more market weighted. So it's pretty wild, or more equal weighted, I mean. And then again, well, like I said, this week, when all said and done, when you step back Monday to Friday, who knew oil can go up 12%? And you think that would cause a lot of fear in the market, but you'd have Shield and some of the defense names like Lockheed Martin are really trading like, I don't want to say all wars are over. I think I saw that headline from the Barclays Capital analyst. I wouldn't go that far. They're trading down to the 200-day moving average in many cases, but a lot of the premium has come out. Oil up 12, semis up 12. Wow, what a world that we live in. Okay, so let us get in here on the dashboard panel. A lot of stuff is going on as we speak. Let's see here. Boopity boopity bop. We'll go through. As I said, new position today, shorted nat gas, and 2 days ago, OIH, because it's very heavy in tech right now. So I'm glad we're in the breakout, but momentum cuts both ways, to the upside, yay, and to the downside, yikes, if and when it happens. So let's take a look at this. NVIDIA, we talked about an important 190 marker. Look at this. Old resistance becomes new support. Now that's looking like a structural floor for NVIDIA, even when they report their off-cycle earnings when they do it. I think they report like in May or something. I forget. They're up a big 5% today. They are snorting semis today. AMD's up 14% on no news. Yes, they are one of the big, counterparties, one of the big people in bed with these other companies. Intel up 20%, confirming that the AI capex is real. Compute is here to stay. The spend is only going up. Again, snorting Micron up 3 1/3%. The SOXX, that's a leverage ETF, up 14%. That's absolutely massive. Amazon, new all-time high today for Amazon, up 2.8%. Last I checked, they're not a semi company. Taiwan semi up 6%. That is a large weighting of Taiwan as a country. Hence, the ETF gets the double bubble from overall AI plus, Taiwan semi being a large component. So again, semis is the day today. Semi up 5.5% for SMH. We'll take a look at that chart. New all-time highs. Meta up 3%. They're laying off 10% of their workforce to pay for their AI infrastructure. And I believe I saw they're closing all openings, or closing a majority of openings. So that's an interesting market tell for future, employers should others catch on, or is it a one-off? And Marvell down 1.2, but the stock has been right basically every single day, it seems like, for a while. Apple not catching the love, still being in the doghouse after the Cook news, essentially getting a new CEO, and Oracle down 3%. All right, let's go to the intraday tape. I want to say that the volume has been lighter here, but that's AOK on all-time highs. I'm looking at SPY here. I think we're set for, again, 60% of average daily volume. We typically do about 70 million. I don't know if we're going to cross over 50 here on the day. Here was 9:30. Once that liquidity, so you see what happens pre-market. Boom, 7 a.m. They get so excited. Pushes from 7:13. Here's the liquidity where the game actually starts. We bottom basically that opening at 9:30. That half hour we hit and triggered 709, and it's been up and away ever since. The all-time high triggered at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. That was 7:14.13, and right now this is hella bullish for me. We are just holding the 713 mark, and we could possibly see 715 today, albeit on light volume. As long as we hold this VWAP at 711.5, things look absolutely great. You're at 63 RSI on a short term. Things look absolutely splendid. As we zoom out, which is a little bit more important than just the intraday, potentially noise. So we said before, these candles look super bullish to me. Ever since this breakout here on the 17th, 7 days ago, okay, last Friday, when you got to that surge and you got to 704, this is a new floor here. You had that little bit of a scare yesterday that took you to 702, and it seems crazy now that we were at 702, but this is very, very bullish. These candles, especially today, this looks extraordinary. Before I had said, yeah, possibly they could take the bullishness up to about 720 before they take it lower first. We could possibly, I was saying 740 target for end of summer. We could, man, we can get to 735 in about, I don't think it happens, but it could get there. I wouldn't be shocked if it gets there in a couple of weeks. And again, massive, massive day next week. I would think that folks take a little bit of a breather and trees are going to the sky. But the 29th, I believe it is, massive earnings day from, I believe it's Amazon, who had a new all-time high, Microsoft, Apple. It's going to be very telling. We'll see if that is the catalyst for another move towards 730 potentially, or does it bring us a little bit down to earth, and that's A-okay to bring us down to earth to the 685. I think it's the latter. I think the market, this has been extremely ridiculous. The candles are what dictate, and we are at 70 RSIs. That is confirming the strength. Again, these candles do not want to go down. Okay, once this 700 is, it looks like your new floor. If we have any kind of an ugly drawdowns, sell-off, this, ceasefire gets canceled or cut in half, or who knows, whatever happens over the weekend or 4 o'clock, once trading stops in markets, we get news from the Middle East. You could get this down to like 690 in the next couple of weeks. It wouldn't shock me, but I think that is your floor. And again, the 690 is your 21-day exponential moving average. I don't think they're going to let it sag below that. So that's the call for semis, or for SPY. I said semis. Freudian slip there, I guess, looking ahead. But an amazing day. Also, the semis has been up 18 days in a row. That's never happened ever. So we're really truly in historic momentum like territory. Check your statements. You're doing all right. And that's pretty much it for right now for SPY. It's been an amazing run. Again, this has not begun just 3 days ago. That was the breakout, really. Momentous breakout started about 9 days ago, but this rally came off this V-shape on March 30th, 3.5 weeks ago, when you remember the depths of 629. Let's take a look, and we're going to really show you what they're propping up, what they're really buying hand over fist is the true statement, and it is SMH. We bought this. I have a basis of 455, so not early by any stretch of the imagination. I was already, when I entered at a 42 RSI, bought on a breakout. It is an 84 RSI here. It has one red day, April 20th, since March 31st. That is unbelievable. That is your star player just scoring 45 a game for like 18 games in a row, and you're saying it's okay. Pump the brakes. I'm going to need you for the playoffs and such. Also, going to be at the Sixers game Sunday. Go Sixers, beat those Celtics. So maybe no show Monday. Possibly. SMH, again, what I said for SMH goes for SPY goes for SMH. This is absolutely normal for it to take a breather, honestly, to about 440, 445 below my entry. Is it gonna? Probably not. We are entering a phase like it had here back into October, if you remember, preceded the prior NASDAQ highs by about 3 weeks. The all-time highs here. This looks amazing. Look at this candle today. They are not done bidding it up. That's insane. It's up 5% today. Look at this candle here. They're kind of undecided yesterday, but still took it 1% higher. And today they had massive lift. We've been calling out this Dragonfly Doji, which was very informative on April 15th. Let me know risk appetites and market wallets were a lot deeper than we had thought. And they said, let's get going. It's the day also SMH crossed 72 RSI. Just an absolute amazing Jordan-like run. If you want to chase it, it may not be done, although you're getting very late in the innings for the short term. The ATR here is $13. It's hella wide. You could chase it right here. If it moves against you to ATR, which would be $26, or a move to approximately 480, get out because it could head to 450. Otherwise, enjoy the profits. They probably take it up higher and then move your stops. It is a very wide stop. You can also do 1.5 instead of the 2x, which would take you to about 20, and just call it an even. If it gets below 487, get out. But this doesn't look done. This candle could be the exclamation point on top. Very, very possibly. But man, VWAP on the day is 503. It's up above that by 1%. They just can't get enough semis. Again, AMD's up 20% on no news. That's it for the SMH. If you're owning any kinds of calls on this, get yourself the really special craft beer or whatever that you drink tonight. Congrats, you crushed it. Number 2, Taiwan, happy to be in this one as well. Up 4.5%. Similar to what we were saying in terms of breakout right here on the 13th. Essentially, the breakout, you entered overbought. You got above $80 off into the races here. It looks like they could take this one as high as $90 short term. Although, like I said, a lot of these instruments have come a lot in a little, over the past 2-3 weeks. This is normal for this to take a breather to about 79. I would not like that. If you wanted to chase it here, which would probably be the right call. Candle looks amazing, although it could be the exclamation point on top. This has also been up about 3 weeks in a row, minus 2 red days. So this is not, I know this isn't a one-day trend or signal. We've been talking about much of these for the entire year owning SOXX. You have to allocate. It's a matter of how much. So Taiwan, doing the ATR work for that, it's about $4 and change. So again, you could chase it right here at 88. If it goes to 84, get out because it very well may go down to 78. By another time, it just didn't work for you. Otherwise, enjoy the gains. This one looks like it very well could head, as I said, to $90, adding 2 more bucks in the short term, or about 2%. And then let's look at the broader spectrum. Tech, of course, can't have semis without tech. New all-time high for this guy, up 2.7% today. Boom. Again, look at this. A red candle. That must be, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday it was down 1.4%. Broad tech. It's had one, that was the one red day since March 31st. So these things are amazing. Is that the first sign that finally XLK has its first red day, and that will get us more granular, going from top bottom? I'm not so sure. It's up 2.6 the next day. This should take a breather to about, honestly, 148, but should doesn't mean a dang thing. 76 RSI, the thing's just been on an amazing run. Could it hit 164 first? Yeah, absolutely. The way to do this through the ATR work as well, 3 ATRs. So $6 is trading 160. If it goes to 154, get out because it could head to 147. Otherwise, you can get in and enjoy that target of maybe 164. They could just keep prying this. You get good positive geopolitical news over the weekend, and then this trend continues. Although it does look a little bit possibly tired, just due to the duration, 3 weeks. And again, just remember the rubber band snaps too far at one end, and it goes. It's personal on the treadmill idea. It goes all the way sinking, and then all the way back up. Sorry for the heavy people. I'm, on my way. The low here, by the way, when the RSI was 30, and then, of course, that's how you get the ping pong right there to 70 plus in just a handful of weeks. Okay, so that's an example of that. That is XLK. Also, if you don't want to do just the straight stock trades, as we're recommending, you could do, like, all these are pretty much similar, extended, so on and so forth. You got to do it time tactically. You could buy technically, the July or August calls, probably the targets that we're talking about, 5% ish higher, 10% higher, but subsidize it and then buy or sell the other strike against it, subsidized, what I've been preaching all along. All right, what are they hammering today? They're saying no thank you. It's not a bull market for these. Healthcare, I'm feeling the fire in biotech. Biotech is off quite a bit today. Look at this. Healthcare, typically defensive, originally thought, AI proof. Let's bid it to the sky. And that was the flavor early on to start the year. And then it kind of faded for healthcare since then. And it really fell in purgatory since March 20th. Had a little bit of a recovery here. And now right back there, look at this. Cannot hold 53 RSI. Has not been able to do it since the war started. And now under the 200-day moving average, although it's rising, so always give a dog a bone. But it's underneath it today with this 1.5% move. Is healthcare. This is because of folks leaning. I couldn't name more growth ETFs hitting all-time highs. So folks don't want to get into healthcare, understandably. Like I say, trends don't grow, or trees don't grow to the sky. Things can't absolutely collapse either. This has been falling apart in the short term too. I'm looking at like April 10th for the short term from 150 down to 144. I think this tries to base next week. I don't think they're done with it because I'm not so sure they're done with the bullishness of the market yet. We'll see what happens from the 3 to 4 o'clock, that important institutional bullish power hour. But this looks like it still wants to go a little bit lower to me. The candle doesn't look like it's done. It's below VWAP on the day. It is I can't, I'll be foolish if I can't note the important support level here at 143 that goes back to Halloween or the prior NASDAQ all-time high. So it is at a decent level. It has been selling off. I think it'll stop right around there, to be frank, around possibly it goes to 141 and gets cute. And then you get a pop to about 148, 147 over the next couple of weeks. But I'm not, no trades come to mind here in healthcare. I just don't think it's in vogue. You probably sell the 148 calls, 149, but I don't think it's going to pay going 3 weeks or so out. All right, let's look at XLC, a dog today, the communication. So it's not all parts of, adjacent tech. Some things of this is basically tech because of the constitution of it being heavily Meta and Google. February 2nd, this group peaked at 120. Rising 200 moving average, got close, and no such thing as a triple top. It got very close. I love XLC. It's been a great source because Google's been an absolute tank, and now Meta's doing kind of its thing. And again, massive day reporting for these guys next week. The thing I don't like here is that this looks like a very staunch wall here, essentially at 120, going back from September. I just don't love that. Usually in that situation, if I have to combine, and I know it's probably scarce technical analyst, if you have to combine fundamentals with technicals, for me, that would say that investors are a little bit reeling in terms of the ROI of current investments, and it's not going to have the same payoff it once originally had, and that makes sense in terms of Meta and all of their AI capex, and now they're literally laying off people and closing openings at the firm to justify that. So that makes sense why this 120 ceiling exists. Google with the different kind of a business model in terms of how they're spreading Gemini, but even they're getting their lunch eaten a little bit by Anthropic. So right here, this very interesting point, we are descending ahead, went to that 120, got to Kembade. When you get to Kembade 3 times, sometimes you fall to the floor. You fall to the floor. Sorry, Rocco, that scared of us, man. The Kembade voice. You got really scared. You all right? So sometimes you can get to Kembade pretty hard. And again, this is comms, communication. So again, this is Meta, Google. It makes up like a third, maybe more than a third of this. 116 is the 200-day moving average. I don't like this group for the next 2 weeks. I think it continues to get to Kembade. I think it hangs in around 116, like for another day or two. Then I would not be shocked, to be frank, if this starts to go towards about 112, 113. Look out for the earnings for these guys too. But I don't like this group here. XLC, make sure you're in the right parts of the market. It's not just adjacent tech, which XLC is considered by many. You got to be in the semis. Okay, and then number 3, they're hammering today. Nat gas. We shorted this one today. Sold my first position to enter on natural gas. Horrendous chart. I have a tight stop on it, so I'll know exactly where I'm wrong. It's basically at $11. Or so. Well, we could do it right here. It's 35 cents times 2, 70 cents. Bang. Do it right here live with you. $11. I get out. That would be a rally to its basically its middle Bollinger Band. Not even anything for it to do. But I don't think it goes well for this group. I don't think they're done with overall bullishness in the market. It serves as a hedge for my OIHs too, but down 2%. I just don't think they like it. I would not be shocked at all if this takes out a new 52-week low, and if it does, I think it's, I can make some money there. I think it heads to about 9 even. So I don't like natural gas for the next 2 weeks. I think that was the little mini rally it had from 10.5 to 11, and I think now it goes back, 2x what it gained there. So natural gas, I'll keep you updated. Love when you have longs and shorts in the turtle portfolio. Really makes my life easier and fun. All right, let's do it. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. What absolutely crushed it this week? Up a 13% over the past 5 days, or 2 and change a day. Today, bucking that trend down 2.8%. Very interesting rally here. If I told you oil's up 13% this week, you'd say, oh, best case scenario, SPY flat, up 0.5%, absolute best, probably down. You're right on that regard, but the Nasdaq's up 2% because of the next slide, the semis being up 11%. But oil's up 13% here on some shakiness on the ceasefires and all that. We talked about last week, I think it was last Friday. I said, I'm not sure if this is quite the time because the market is being bullish, but we had said, and I'll just go to in my notes, April 17th. I said, if you can get an entry here Buying into strength rather above 122. This could head towards 140 again. So this is the candle from last time. Okay, right there. I said buy into strength above 122. The close. So the next day was 121, and then we got to 128, leapfrog there, and then no looking back here. It actually pierced 136, and we're getting pretty close. I think this has a bullish 2 weeks here, regardless of what's happening in the market. The chart looks great. I know what's going on somewhat overseas, but this has not been able to give away a 45 RSI going back for the entire calendar year of 2026, and that's 3 months or 2 months rather before the Iran war started. So they're not exactly just one for one. Don't think like that. Look at the charts here. This looks like to me it has a bullish 2 weeks ahead. I don't want to say it's going to go to new 52-week highs, but this looks like I'm not shocked at all if it can go to 140. Ugly day today, though, with a minor bearish engulfing. It basically swallowed up the entire day of yesterday's bullish up 4% day. So don't love that in terms of the give back. But let's see where it closes. View up on the day, 132.41. They said no thank you to that. So it may take a little bit of a day or two to get back on its skis, but I do believe ultimately in about 2 weeks' time, this will hit 140 or $9 from here. So great upside. I'm on OIH, which should enjoy gains adjacent to this. Again, it's interesting that today, the best gainer of the week, up 13% USO. It's a big loser today with a borderline bearish engulfing. So a bit of an unwind of the week's best trade. Number 2 best trade on the board, and I am in the sister of this essentially, is the SOXX. This is just crazy. Look at the green candles down here if you can. Green every day since March 31st. This thing's had an undefeated April. Truly just every day, and it's a matter of how much green it made. So, I mean, like as a chartist, I mean, look at here. So this is when we were saying a couple of days ago, totally normal for this to take a breather, and that's where we do that breakout system where you have the ATRs and you enjoy these gains, and then you pull back your stops if it moves lower. But this is an 86 RSI, the hottest the SOXX have been all year. Again, this is more the equal weighted. This isn't just super heavy NVIDIA. So this is, like what we see in AMD, Micron, Marvell, you name it. Absolutely stupendous chart. Don't be shocked. If people take profits here, it's absolutely normal. And this pulls back to about 395. It sounds psychotic. That would be a drawdown of what, $65 or more than, what is that, like 8% or something? I wouldn't be shocked. Momentum cuts both ways. Be careful. The thing's up literally nearly 3 weeks in a row. Trees don't grow to the sky. This is trying to prove the point otherwise, or the contrary point. All right, and then so that's up 11% or an average of 2% a day today, trumping that. Sometimes there's the exclamation point on top, sometime and it reverses, or sometimes this can continue for several more days. And I'm in it until otherwise. And then number 3 best trade, also tech adjacent, Taiwan up 6% or 1% or more a day. Again, capitalizing on today, up 4%. Have we charted this one directly yet? Yeah, earlier this gainers. Yeah, so again, totally natural for this to drop down to about $80 or have a 10% drawdown. But right now, they're absolutely loving it. I think I gave you the numbers earlier. Yeah, for the breakout on this. It's 2 ATR, so $4. It's trading 88. You could buy right here. It goes to 84. Get out, because it very likely is headed to 79, $80. Otherwise, enjoy the gains, because it could head to about 90, which we talked about earlier. Okay, so those are the 3 best gainers of the week. If you were in USO, SOXX, and EWT, you absolutely crushed the market, absolutely slaughtered. That was the perfect way to do it. I can claim OIH, but just through 2 days ago, and it's been a mediocre, somewhat decent position. SOXX and EWT are just printers. Top 3 losers of the past 5 days, and this is pretty interesting. Number 1 loser, I had recommended it, but not in terms of the timing, and we'll get to that right now. Silver, the worst trade this week, down 6.5% or 1% and change a day. Today, reversing that. Let's see if it's moving there. Ugly candle right here on the 17th last Friday. Don't like to see candles like that. It proves to me it was not ready for $75, and nor has it been ready for that mark since March 13th. So that's just a larger time frame for me. The thing that's a little bit concerning, and it was basically, we were just talking about it there, is I don't like the resistance that's been occurring in silver at 75, essentially since a week into the war, for what it matters there. It's been able to hold 50 RSI. Now it's basically holding that line at 49, but I don't like that it's not been able to hold that 75. It's been really, really difficult. Love a rising 200-day moving average. It is still going up at about 15 cents or so a day, starting to slow down. I think this tries to hang in around $69 where it is here, obviously, but I don't think they're done selling it. I think next week, especially the first half of the week, I think they sell a little bit lower to about like $64. I'm not so sure they're done yet. This is an impressive candle today to try to stop the bleeding, but I don't think it's done. And I wouldn't be shocked if they try and put 64, which would be constructive, higher lows than what it did here towards the end of March, still holding a rising 200-day moving average. And then finally, once it breaks 75, it is going to break 75. And that's a quantitative term as well. So, but right now, this week, not for silver. Maybe worth a punt in at like the end of next week. If you get it around that nice attractive level. I like buying silver that close to 200-day moving average, but yeah, not in vogue right now. And I know a lot of technicians that would say, ew, lower highs here, not healthy, but I would look at this short-termer and say, how about this, higher lows with a rising 200. So all about time frame, right? Always. Okay, number 2, and it's correlated. GDX, is this having a reversal today? It is down 6% on the week, similar, basically same as silver. Down 1% and change a day. Today up 2%. Gold miners. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of more. It hasn't fallen away as much as silver. So for this equivalent level, it has done a crappy job with dealing with 103 resistance from the same exact date, March 13th, equivalent to that 75 resistance level in silver. I think this is in the doghouse for a couple more days, considering it's been still not really etching out new highs ever since really since April 8th. So I think the drawdown is still continuing. It's at 48 RSI. I think this tries to find a low. It tries to hang in around $95, where we are technically here, essentially 94. And they could take it down to as low as 90. And that would be, to me, a good entry if you have no metals exposure and you want to get long one. That is the gold miner story. And then the third thing they sold, so really ugly week for silver, gold miners, and Chinese internet. We talked about this one in a video as well. An absolute loser. They hammered this week, down 6%. So all these were down 6%. Silver, gold miners. Rocco, stop it. Silver, gold miners, and Chinese internet. No love. This looks ugly. I was close to shorting this versus nat gas, but I did nat gas instead because it served as a better kind of a pairs trade, if you will, against OIH. But I do not like this one for the next 2 weeks. This looks ugly. Don't forget the 52-week low for this. This was like a great short, to be honest. This looks like the 52-week low was on March 31st. This looks like it's got another 2 weeks in the penalty box, and it wants to head to about 27 even. I gotta let this dumb dog go. Silly rabbit dog. So for KWEB, this looks like it's going lower. I do think so. It's trades I would sell. It's tough because you're in an all-time bull market in many nations. So you could sell the 30 calls, 29 half calls. I don't think you're going to get paid much. Or if you think there's going to be downside, and I do, I kind of like the idea of going out to like July or August and buying like this 27 puts and then buy the 26s against it. That's not a bad one to do it. They've been hammering this one. Look at that one. We called this out here that KWEB was nowhere near to break $31, and boom, fast move. So this looks like it's going to doghouse as well. So some things solidifying in the charts. I don't think KWEB has a good 2 weeks up ahead. I don't think nat gas does. We said the semis thing can continue and how to play that. Top 3 trades of the past 5 days: long USO, long SOXX, semiconductors, long oil, and short silver. Those were the trades that dominated this week. Crushed it. Top 3 trades of the past 52 weeks. When in doubt, zoom out. And I'm so glad to see this. On Young, the best trade year over year, and it's in the Journal portfolio because it is a week of an all-time high. EWY up 177% year over year. Wow, that is not a double leverage ETF. That is not junior silver miners. That is not Palantir 3X nonsense. No. That is EWI, the nation ETF, up 2.6% today, up 177 year over year. When you look back over a yearly trade, and it literally made those highs, and look at this. And the breakout from the February 26th high is at this level, 153. I'm telling you, that's about to be a new floor. I don't know if it's going to happen today. Totally normal for this to head to about 143 in the next 2 weeks. Take a breather, and then boom, you're looking at 165, 175 plus, and that 150 level being a floor after. So looks great. You got to allocate to South Korea and some amount. That is number one. Trend looks absolutely, obviously strong with that. Number two trade behind in percent. Before we wrap on out of here with number three, number two is SOXX up 152%. And boy, all year it's been crushing it, but especially not one red day since March 31st. Astonishing. Today up 4.5%. We'll see what happens on Monday. Is this an exclamation point right here on this part of the run? Will be perfectly normal, or does the line get hotter here and more people line up and we're headed to, we're on our way to 500 at some point, the way this is moving. That is SOXX up 152. And then the aforementioned. So you have two that are running right here. Both made all-time highs within the past 72 hours. And then number three trade of the year is silver up 125. This has not made all-time high within the past 72 hours. It actually did it 3 months ago. So you got two continuations. And then one, is it possibly a reversal here? I give it the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't. So this is the interesting one on my board. I'm going to that StockTwits cash tag award because this was my idea to buy silver. The resistance at 75 is concerning. I wouldn't step into it right here. I would like an entry, though, at about $61 to $63 if it's present in the next week, probably by the middle to end of next week. Otherwise, the other lazier way to trade this is you wait for a breakout above 75. It was almost my old equivalent of waiting for Bitcoin to break above 80 or 100. Depends how patient you are. And then do it from there. Equivalent for a SPY would have been, buying that 700 mark. And then you would have got that easy 2%, although you wouldn't miss the ride if you got in between. So that is it for that. Silver up 125%. Again, crushing the market. The themes that are crushing it right here is South Korea, semiconductors, and then to a longer medium-term extent, silver. All right, have an awesome, fantastic weekend. We will see you next week. Peace.